Hi, and welcome to my collaboration with Hope Designs by Mandy. We are both going to be doing resin geodes. I am working on a 14-inch birch round, which is a 1/4 inch thick. It has been taped on the back, sanded, gessoed, sanded again, gessoed again, and sanded again. So 2 layers of gesso with sanding in between. And here I'm applying a outline with my glue gun over the gold lines that I've drawn on. This gives me a visual of where my stones are going to be going, like my stone features, my crystal features, and eventually where my gold lines will be going as well. So just to kind of keep me on task and make sure that I put everything where I want it to go. So I'm just going around and making a little bit of a glue dam around those lines so that none of the color is going to seep underneath my stones. And just kind of keep everything where I want it to be. So I am going to be using a pretty simple color pattern or color palette, 3 colors, white, pink, and gold, but I'm going to be using quite a few elements. I'll be using a combination of clear fiberglass from Amazon, some extra small tumbled quartz that I bought off Amazon, and some Ashland acrylic crystals that are from Michael's, and some tumbled rose quartz just placed strategically on top of the crystals and glass. And then I'm also mixing up a combination of kosher salt and diamond dust to make this kind of sandy, fine crystal look. And it's actually really pretty. It's a really nice, clean white. And I've never done that before, so I had to go searching on how that is actually made. And it's very simple. You mix your salt together. You can use diamond dust. You can use glitter. Some people even use sand, and just slowly add a little bit of resin to that mixture until you get it to hold together, but it's not wet. You don't want it wet at all. You want it to still kind of be loose, and it does stick together because you've got a little bit of resin in there. So I've outlined some lines with the small tumbled quartz, and I'm not really liking the color of that quartz. So I'm going to take some white. This is Color Passion Topsail White, which is a really clean white. And I'm going to actually use this for pouring it over that quartz, just to kind of brighten it up and clean it up a little bit, because I find it's quite yellow, which if I was using a different color pattern would be okay, but with the salt and the crystals, it looks kind of dirty to me. Not dirty. I guess yellow is a better way of explaining it. So I'm pouring this white Color Passion right over top of it. And I think what I'm going to do is just cover it completely in white and not have the quartz showing much, and just use it for texture as opposed to, making it look like stone, if that makes any sense at all. As for the pink, you saw me a minute ago showing Just Paint Cotton Candy, which I'm pouring here. And I had taken out, I think it was Color Passions as a darker pink. Anyway, I decided not to use it. I wanted to just go with a paler pink. I found this pink was even a little bit darker than I wanted it to be. I was going for a super, super light pink. Um, Anyways, I chose the lighter of the two, and I'm using these two colors, just simple bands in between the stones there. I did let my resin sit for about 20 minutes. This crystal resin has 30 minutes, 40 minutes at the very best. So it wasn't really thick, but it was starting to get there, starting to get warm. I was originally planning on keeping the bands nice and clean so that the colors didn't blend together. But then when I saw how this pink is actually a little bit darker than what I wanted it to be, I decided that I was going to add some heat to it and push those two colors together and try to get them to blend a little bit more. Which ends up working really nice because the Color Passion Top Cell White, when you mix it or when you push it into other colors, you get some cell action. I don't end up getting a lot of cells because the resin was quite a bit thicker, and you usually put it over top of another color as opposed to next to another color. At any rate, this is what happens. I just take my finger and kind of move it around a little bit and play with the heat, going back and forth between my heat gun and my torch, trying to get that resin to move around a little bit. It's setting up not terribly bad, but it's not cooperating quite as much as I want it to at this point. But that's okay. This, to me, is the ugly stage after the resin's been poured and there's no lines and there's no gilding. It's just kind of at that stage right now where you just have to wait and add all the pretty stuff in the next step. It's a challenge to get a geode process video down to a reasonable amount of time, because really there's hours and hours of work and lots of supplies, not quantity, but definitely lots of supplies. I was going to say not a lot of what you use, but lots of different supplies that you use: stones, glitters, micas, pastes, all that kind of thing. So there's a lot that goes into it. Lots of different variations and lots of time and waiting for your resin to set up so you can go on to the next step. We're about at the end of where this resin is going to be doing any moving whatsoever, but luckily it does do a little bit on its own after I leave it alone and it's starting to set up, so it turns out okay in the end, I think. So I do let this sit overnight, and the next day I go in to do my gilding and drawing on some lines. So special thanks to Mandy. Her and I chit-chatted quite a bit about this collaboration. We decided about a month ago we were going to do this, but between everything else that goes on in our lives, her channel is very active. She does beautiful blooms as well as art, resin work. And as you know, I'm just kind of slow at getting my stuff together and getting a video up. So I made my own gilding liquid. I made it with Ranger Inks Pearl Mixative, Color Arts Interference Gold, and Just Paint Golden Beach. So I just squirt a little bit of that ink in the bottom of a cup, and add in a couple of a spoon of each of those micas and stir it together. So I'm going to go around and cover up the dark quartz. There's some darker pieces of quartz that I don't want showing through. So I just have a paintbrush and I dabbed the gilding liquid over those dark spots to cover them up, and it worked great. Can't even tell that they're dark pieces of quartz underneath there. So where I had gone over with the white mica to cover up that kind of yellowish quartz, I didn't mind how it looked. So I decided to just take the gilding liquid and sporadically paint a few of the pieces of the quartz. If they were darker or if they were, not the color that I wanted them to be or a color that didn't look nice, I just covered it up with some of the gilding paint that I mixed up here. And it turned out really, really nice, I think. And then I go along the edge of where the kosher salt and diamond dust piles are. I don't know what that stuff's called, what that mixture's called. And then, of course, I go around where the glass and acrylic crystals and the smaller quartz and the rose quartz, those areas I just kind of go through and cover up. So you can make your own gilding liquid just by mixing together ink and mica. And yeah, you don't have to go out and buy every single color. Some people even use metallic paint, which is great too. But yeah, there's all kinds of different options. For my lines, I used a Sharpie gold pen in fine, an oil-based pen, and then the Pebeo white pen. And here I'm adding just a layer of clear. I loved the way the first layer turned out. I was not tempted at all to do a second layer of the pink and the white because I loved the way it turned out, just the way it is. So I went in with a flood coat and put my flood coat on, and I'm just kind of pushing it up against the stones so that it, there's no holes or anything against my stones, and covering up my gold so it's nice and shiny, just pushing it where I want it with my finger. And that's all I did with this geode. I was pleasantly surprised at how well my pink turned out. I love how it did end up getting some lighter pink areas in there and a little bit of some nice cell effects. Not a lot, but a few here and there. I'll show you in a close-up. I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. So thanks for joining me for my premiere. Make sure that you go and watch Mandy's video. I'll leave her channel and her video linked below. And she makes beautiful blooms, which I'm jealous of because I can't do a bloom to save my life. But she makes gorgeous blooms. I really appreciate her color palette because she likes blues and purples as much as I do, as we do pink. But anyway, so just going over it with the heat. I do go back and forth several times with a heat gun and a torch to get rid of every single bubble that I can, and I cover it with a little picnic tent to keep any little critters off of it. And here's some close-ups of how nice those colors blended together. 2 colors, that's all it was, white and pink, and then with gold and white accents. There's that salt and diamond dust mixture, very sparkly. Turned out really, I think it's such a nice effect. I really love it. And this is that small tumbled quartz line that I made. I poured the white paste over top of it and just dotted some gold pieces on it. This is the glass and the crystal, and you can see the rose quartz pieces there. Some more of the salt and dust, diamond dust mixture. I'm waving my ring light around to show you the sparkle on it. Thank you so much for joining me for my first premiere. Please check out my other videos. Go check out Mandy's videos. Leave a comment in the comment box, and I hope to see you again soon. Thanks so much for joining me. You have a great day. Bye.